Today, me and my lovely wife were off to see Paul Meenan, the creator of E5, who's allegedly got a little gift for us. He's 2 hours away, so we've got a nice long journey and no children in the back, which is equally as exciting as the journey itself, I would suggest for us. Are you looking forward to seeing Paul today?
I am, but the only footage I've seen of him has been in a dinner suit, so I've got very high expectations.
So, no dinner suits today, so even though I'm not going to see him, I'm going to see him first time almost for ages without a dicky bow on. So we're off to see Paul Meenan. I made the 2 hours and 15-minute journey down to sunny Southend.
Yes, sunny Southend.
To meet Paul Meenan again. This time, Paul, we're not wearing a fancy shirt and tie, though, are we?
No.
And doing a bit of that.
No, this is slobbing around the house, chilling out over the Christmas and New Year's break, and we've just had a fantastic dinner.
We have had a fantastic dinner, and well, before we get to the other bit that you're going to do, let's explore the dinner a little bit further.
We don't have to.
We had a wonderful roast dinner, lovely roast chicken, roast potatoes, swede. We had lovely gravy, didn't we? Beautiful. And one person at the dinner table decided then that it's tradition with all the meals to take what seemed like half a bottle of ketchup and half a bottle of some sort of of mayonnaise, and spread it over their entire Sunday lunch.
Okay, so everybody who knows me knows that when I do eat various foods, I tend to lightly cake it with ketchup and mayonnaise. What can you do?
It was wonderful. It so deserved to be tasted as well, rather than tomato sauce. It was lovely.
Yeah.
We've dragged down here to see you, Paul, which is fantastic, and you've been renovating your house as well, frantically renovating rooms so we can sit in them, which was classic.
Yeah.
Because you've got a kind donation from E5.
We do. So we have just here, and I'm going to give you I'll use a smaller box. So this is the Loxtronic kit, which you guys have been doing some fantastic videos with some explanations on the basic principles. But this is something a little bit more, because this is the advanced principles kit.
The advanced principle kit
comes
in not one, not two.
In 3 huge boxes, which have been taking up my house for a while. So these are for you, Gary.
Thank you very much.
On behalf of E5, because this is fantastic training material and it should be in fantastic trainers' hands. So these are a gift from E5, hence with the E5 badge on them, from us to you.
Thank you very much.
They are now officially yours.
Which is fantastic, because I think some other ethoses there line up nicely, that you've made that kind donation so we can produce some more learning resource materials, which will be free to everybody to access on YouTube.
Absolutely, as it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're both great believers in learning training material should be free, and you've aided us by giving this kind donation so we've increased the type of videos we can do, and they'll be free to everybody.
And it also helps me, because when I play around with my one, I don't blow myself up.
So you're suggesting you didn't just get one of these sets?
I have. I bought 2. I got 2, and one of them is currently sat in my shed, which I shall be playing with as I'm having Joe and your good self explain how not to kill myself. Because let's be perfectly frank, it's been many years since I've done electronics principles.
So they're fantastic, and I'm sure the second Joe sees them, he's going to be diving in there and creating a few more videos.
There's a lot in there.
There is a huge amount. We've had a little look off camera. There is a lot of stuff in there, isn't there? So while we're here, we might as well ramble on for a few more minutes. Yeah, we're going to have a little tiny ramble, see where this goes. Trying to avoid parts of the electrical industry. So
no swearing,
no edits, no cuts,
no cuts,
unless we have the sound crashes, which is a normal place. So E5, your baby brainchild, fully implemented now. Do you want to give us a quick 30 seconds to a minute overview of E5 so everybody can get an update?
Well, I think we're going to do a lot of people who know of E5 have watched the video of me rambling in my car on YouTube, and we're going to do an update of that video. I'm going to film an update, but I'm also going to ask other E5 people to film parts of that video as well, and we'll edit it together in the new year, because I'd like people to tell us what they think E5 is and what it means to them. This year E5 has just gone beyond my wildest dreams, to be honest with you. The membership has just gone through the roof. There isn't a day that goes by where I haven't had an email or a message, a positive one, and there's a common thread in our industry of people who either need help, who want to offer help, who are struggling to make others understand, because the electrical industry in the terms of infrastructure is always the last in. and it's generally the most complex system because it interfaces with pretty much everything, and competency is struggling. So we've found ourselves running around the country helping each other, which has been fantastically rewarding, and it's grown into something huge. I mean, I never thought when we had our meeting last year in Coventry that we would end up going to Northern Ireland doing events, Wales. We've done stuff in London. We've lectured major design houses. We've worked with NAPIT on some fantastic stuff, and NAPIT have been really kind to us. I myself always make a point of trying to go out and support all the trade associations. So I've been to NIC Live South, which was brilliant. I go to the ECA Voltimum events. I get to the NAPIT events if I can, and just trying to stay in touch with the shop floor, because for me as a client, trying to understand what happens and how things occur helps me be a better client. And I try and implement that in where I work currently, because my Sparks are not wanting for anything, and if they are wanting for something, I want to know about it, because I want my guys to be happy, be safe, and enjoy what they're doing.
So that's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So if I'm a small electrical contractor and thought to myself, I like the overview of this E5, which you're going to give us again in a minute, break it down in simple terms.
Oh, okay.
How would I become an E5 member? So first of all, break down the principles of E5 into a nice simple form for us.
Okay, so we always ask people to, or we send them a link to look at the Statement of Ethical Principles, which I don't have sitting around, funnily enough. But
you carry on. You carry on.
He does. He's got his card. I don't even have my wallet. So on our little card here, it has four key principles: honesty, integrity, respect for life, law, and the public good, accuracy and rigour, leadership and communication. We send these out when we have them. They're issued by the Engineering Council, and underneath each of these four headers is a set of criteria, and one of my favourite ones under leadership and communication is challenge policies that cause you concern. Now, when you add accuracy and rigour, that tells me straight away that you see something that's wrong, you've got to say it, but you've got to do it in a manner which requires a bit of thought before you go off effing and jeffing, and you've got to get your facts and keep your wits about you. And I think E5 guys and girls have been coming together to help each other, empower each other more and more. And the fact of the matter is, this is issued by the Engineering Council, so every single person who works in construction industry who's professionally registered, designers, must uphold to this. Teachers, tradesmen, it's very clearly defined in that code of practice. We're not saying that this is a utopia. We're not saying that anyone who's an E5 member must absolutely work 100% to this. What it is it's an endeavour. We are, at the end of the day, we've become a rather fastly grown movement. But the fact of the matter is, we're not just a movement, we've effectively almost grown into a co-op of like-minded people.
But for positive.
Yes.
Just not to be disruptive, not to be negative. No. This is trying to raise standards.
The fact of the matter is the logo is a circle of continuous improvement, and I've said before, you cannot fix something if you don't know what's wrong and you don't acknowledge there is something that's wrong. And I found in construction industry we tend to not do that because of costing, margins, people undercutting each other, and I think a lot of it, and for me the one thing I've learned in the last year, you root cause a lot of this, it comes down to education, and I think that's why E5 are endeavouring to inspire, inform, influence, educate and support our 5 pillars of what we want to do. We don't want to be NIC because we could never be NIC. We don't want to become NAPIT because NAPIT do their own good stuff. What we want to do is we want to inspire, we want to educate, we want to be able to say openly and honestly and challenge NAPIT or NIC or ECA or any other industry body. Is this for the public interest? Is this for the public good? Is it for the good of the tradesman? And that's what we're trying to do. And yeah.
So simple terms, and let's take it back to the 1 or 2 man electrical band. So there you go. The good example was, I think it was David Watts, Sparky Ninja, was in electrical wholesalers. There was a guy in there who was struggling with a calculation of some sort.
Yep.
He stopped his day. He clearly wrote it out for him, clearly explained what he needed to know, and he gave up his time to educate somebody, to inform, to help, empower that person, and then they carried on their day. So it's almost about a generation of people being good people that pass good knowledge down the tree as well.
Some people have said it's a pay it forward movement. I kind of like that because we have to pay forward the positives. But again, positives can be very short and they can be long term. The long term stuff never comes without the negatives. We have, as an industry, a massive problem in being able to discuss negatives. There are a lot of people who will speak negatively because, let's be perfectly frank, Sparks can be quite negative a lot of the time, and I can understand why, because on site they're the last in, they have to fix the other trades, the other design problems as they go, so it can sometimes not be very rewarding. But with good people helping good people, it makes it a hell of a lot more fun, and you can still have a difficult conversation whilst being respectful towards each other, and that I don't think our trade's very good at, but hopefully we can improve. Because to be honest with you, as a client, I see stuff, and I've seen stuff for many years that I think my industry needs to improve, because it's just going to leave me a legacy. We can't think short term anymore. I've got to get more long term in my thinking, and that starts in my supply chain. And I know a lot of people are thinking, well, pay for it and you'll get it. Not necessarily so. I've paid for cheap and I've got brilliant, and I've paid expensive. So it's very much about cultural, it's behavioural, it's about attitude, and underpinning all of that is competence. And that's something that's massively struggling in industry at the moment.
Yes, it's a fantastic ethos. It's one that's picking up a lot of pace. However, when we were talking today about getting a bit of Paul Meenan's life back together, you've spent well over 12 months dedicated to getting E5 off the ground with your fellow founders. But you've also said that you want to spend some time being Paul Meenan for a change. Yeah,
it'd be nice to. I'll be honest with you, I'm probably about 2-3 months behind on emails, personal ones, because I work a 50+ hour a week job. I'm building 2 new railway stations, I'm refurbishing 26, I've got lots and lots of project works, I've got a very, very busy job. On top of that, I've got E5. The fact that we've been able to do, I think this
year...
Lovely
lady partner as well.
Oh yes, loving the lady partner. I think this year I've done probably about 16 lectures of some form or another, going back from, in fact, before this year even, when the DPC came out. Developing training material. Now, I'm not a qualified trainer, but I care enough to be able to develop, hopefully, stuff that people will listen to. And in the new year, I'm going to try and develop some client content on maybe contracts and stuff that I'm really passionate about, emergency lighting. And
where can we view that though? Where will that be?
Well, you won't be able to view. I'll be filming it upstairs. It'll eventually go on an E5 YouTube channel, okay. And it will be in the ethos of Mr. Watts, because Mr. Watts is a teacher to all, and I shall be copying, homaging his training methodology, and just putting myself and my training material in there. Hopefully this year I'll get something out there, because I've got stuff that I do already in public. I'll use them as test beds to see if I can get something out on YouTube. And is that you doing less? Because I thought the idea of the next 12 months was you're going to just take your foot off the gas slightly. Well, that's and kind of allow it just to roll. Well, I kind of find that's my CPD. Okay. So my CPD is learning the technology that allows me to do this recording, because Dave's explained it to me, and no offense, Dave, it's, unless you're doing it constantly, my God, it's outside of my comfort zone. So you say Dave, Sparky Ninja. Sorry, Sparky Ninja. So everyone knows who they are. Sorry, Sparky Ninja. It's outside of my comfort zone for what Sparky Ninja does, but I am trying. I've done some trial attempts with a green screen. It kind of works. I need a bit more FaceTime with Sparky Ninja to perfect it, and then once I'm ready, I'll sit in front of a computer and ramble for a few nights, and then see if I can edit it together to make something coherent. And it's not going to be wiring regulations content, because no one can do what Dave does, wouldn't even attempt to. So it'll be stuff within my own competency range, and hopefully it'll add some benefit to somebody. And remember, there are lots and lots of young people coming up into our industry constantly, and giving them better access to this sort of knowledge and where to obtain the knowledge is only a good thing. I know I struggled. I had to fight to obtain a lot of the knowledge that I have, and I don't want that for people coming forward. So free training given back. Free training, absolutely. So we move away from that. So there's another pressing question that I'm sure everybody wants to ask you. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble in January? So we're filming this just as we approach in January. I don't want to get released. Who's going to win the Royal Rumble? We're big WWE fans. I'd like to say Bret Hart to come back and win it, but I'm going to assume they won't have sorted out their storylines or creativity. It'll probably be Braun Strowman. Worst case scenario would be Brock Lesnar again. They're just, I'm going to go with either. Vince McMahon only likes the big guys, doesn't he?
Yeah,
at the end of the day. Although I would like Daniel Bryan to win it, actually.
But if he's still got the title, he's probably going to have a title match at the Rumble anyhow. So whether he'll do that, and so they'd have to take the belt off him before, and they're not going to do that.
This is very difficult catching up with wrestling when you do all the hours that you do. By the way, henceforth, it's Wrestle Talk's really good. We live for Wrestle Talk.
I was gutted. They nicked my Ramble idea as well.
They did. They stole your Ramble. Yeah. But I don't subscribe to their Rambles because you have to pay for them.
So they do their Wrestle Rambles, and I said, it's quite ironic after
we could always do a Wrestle Talk after this.
And
just talk. We can have WWE Network on the. We'll just flip the chair around, have the WWE Network on the screen, and we can just talk and go, that was interesting.
So and then leaning into Mania, you stay up and watch it. I don't. I have to hold off my WrestleMania modes. Yeah, sits here and watches WrestleMania. I can't stay up, so I have to walk around work saying, "Please don't tell me any results. Please don't tell me any results." Also, we've got another massive thing in common. We're also big Star Wars fans.
Huge Star Wars fans. Oh, I didn't bring my lightsaber in.
No, it could have been wanding that around and tripping over the microphone leads and all the rest of it.
Yeah, sorry.
So let's go solo. So last out. So first to give the piece of misery. Should have been a trilogy. They were all signed for 3 films. All the cast were signed for 3 films.
And they're not doing them anymore?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Are they still planning to do 2 and 3? They left Solo.
I hope so.
Well,
I don't
think they are.
When I first went to see Solo, I sort of sat there watching it and went, yeah, it's good, but... and then I watched it again, because I always, if I'm not sure, I watch it 2 or 3 times. And I went to see it again, and I've seen Solo 5 times in the cinema, and I have to say, by the 5th time I walked out going, splendid, loved it, excellent film. It was too much packed in for one viewing, but if you're a Star Wars nerd and you know Star Wars lore, then you'll see more and more and more, and it just makes the film smoother. I think most films suffer because of time constraints. The studios try and pack them down to 2 hours, 2 hours 15, whereas a really good movie is about 2.5 hours, to be perfectly frank. But yeah. Yeah,
so when they left it, I was like, oh, please, because we've got Darth Maul, we can go again.
I know, I'd love to see Darth Maul again.
Yeah, so it was a little bit of a one. My favourite one out of all of, especially let's go for remakes, my favourite one's still Rogue One. I still think that's superb. I know people don't like the CGI characters returning, not everyone's a massive fan of that, but...
Rogue One
sensational
stood
film.
out as a phenomenal piece of filmmaking.
On its own.
Yes, on its own.
It
stood out. Solo was always going to be hard because Harrison Ford set the benchmark and he'd recently just done Episode 7.
Yeah.
So it was very, very difficult to make right. Nobody was ever going to be happy. One thing, when you're a bit of a sci-fi fan, you'll always find people that are never happy about something or another. It's the principle. A movie is about, it takes you away, it transports you somewhere where you can enjoy yourself and go on a journey with them. If you're going to critique every single bit, which you all have, but you know what I mean, it's like, it's Star Wars. I mean, I'm a Star Trek fan as well, which is heresy to some Star Wars fans, but I am a Star Trek fan. I was a Star Trek fan before I was a Star Wars fan. Am I allowed to say that? But I love both. I have time in my life for both. Well, actually, I don't have any time in my life for both of them at the moment, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So look, lots of things in common there. Yep. So obviously the E5 thing brought us together. You were watching me from afar, I think, before I twigged who anyone was.
Stalking.
Yeah, it's bordering on stalking. We've had conversations off camera about how violated I felt when I finally made all the dots connect up together. Yeah. Even to the point of view, I shot a video in the Elect show in Coventry in 2017. Where these two, you and Richard Townsend appeared behind the cameras. I panned round a shot and you two are standing there.
So if you watch one of his old videos of Alex in Ali Pali, he does a pan shot, and myself and Richard Townsend are staring at him, going, "That's that bloke off of YouTube. That's that bloke. We know him. Let's watch him now. Let's watch him do his work." How weird is that?
It was, yeah. And then once you connect all the dots together. So from my point of view, if I put the E5 into me, I've said it before on camera and I'll probably say it again when we do our Returning to College Ramble, is that it was probably the most significant moment in, certainly this year. So 2018 for me was the time of which I picked up my badge. Okay, and we made all the connections between you. People like Ryan Dempsey came to see me. I had Paul Skirm come to see me. Eventually, I obviously got David to come in on my birthday as well. But put all these pieces into place. Richard Townsend now, I almost class him as a friend. You know, I mean, I see a lot of Richard. Really nice guy.
He's a good bloke.
He's a lovely bloke. Has made and it's coincided with, hopefully the channel's grown, people have seen more of me and Joe and Matt as the channel's developed, but it all goes back to that pursuit of getting my E5 badge, the help that you lot gave me, and the access that I got to people like Napit, people like Richard Townsend, yourself, and Brian Dempsey has made a huge difference to me.
See, the weird thing is a lot of people have, and thank you very much, but a lot of people have said to me some really great things about E5, which is always very, very humbling. But I've always had this belief that good people will always do good things for good people. And I think one of the things that shocked me, I suppose, a bit with E5 was there was one point in my career, I won't lie to you, where I was very down and disheartened by the complacency. I think that was the word. Probably complacency, I didn't realise at the time, may have just been lacking of competence. But the amount of people I've met through E5, the competent people that sit there and go, wow, that's really smart of you. And I sit with these people and go, you're 10 times smarter than me. I'm absolutely in awe of you. It's really nice to have good people with good energies around you, sharing and helping. And this year's been bonkers. And I really look forward to next year. So it's a little note to NIC and ECA. Anyway.
So from my point of view, my year was greatly enriched by the experience of joining E5 and obviously the access I had to everybody, and that's primarily down to you. And you know, on camera, well, let's thank you for that moment, because it's been fantastic. And then obviously the generous gifts, donations, your time. You've come to the college. You know, you've sent everybody else to the college, access to the Ninja, etc. You know, it's been fantastic. So I think that would be a poignant place in which to leave it on the thank you moment.
Okay.
But you've heard it here on camera, folks. He's going to do less in 2019 because he done way too much in 2018.
Is this the point where we actually, I then ask you, when I come up to see you next, will we actually do a ramble where we get to talk about the intricacies of the industry?
You can tuck me up all you like. Yeah, we do it.
All right.
That sounds good. So, me and Paul would like to say, we hope this video has been some help.